right. Post-cash game.
Post-cash game.
How are you feeling?
I had a great
Why are you not coming
time.
back tomorrow, though?
I'm doing another. Well, I'm doing another radio show tomorrow. I'm doing This Week in Tech.
But if you won that 15, like that.
If I won the flip, I probably would have come back. Yeah,
you were in.
Yeah, for sure. Just because it would have been a good omen, it would have been good luck, and I would have come
Right.
back. But I didn't run very well, and I was playing with a bunch of pros. And the fish can only take so much.
Do you feel like you gambled enough though today? Do you feel like there were some spots that you passed up where maybe if you just wanted to flip? Or,
You know what? This is not a good lineup to be flipping with because you have all these pros and they're playing very tight. So it's not the kind of lineup where you can do anything as an amateur but play tight and pick your shots. So you have to get lucky as an amateur to be ahead in one of these games. So whenever I play TV poker, I know going in, it's just a donation in general. But it's good marketing. It's really good for my business. We're trying with company.
So I have to ask,
Yes.
how does it feel, people know you as like a venture capitalist, angel investor.
Angel investor.
How does it feel like playing poker versus, is there any comparison? Do you think it helps one way or the other?
Yeah, so most of the people who are business people love poker because if they get the bug, you're dealing with partial information and you have to figure it out, and it's one of those things where it's a mystery, and like a business, you don't have all the information, and it involves a little bit of competition, a little bit of intimidation, a little bit of deception, all the things that like strategy that are appealing to business people. In terms of angel investing, that's basically like gambling as well. I mean, you're betting 10 times knowing that 7 or 8 times out of 10 you're going to fail, and hoping that 1 out of 10 times, 1 out of 100 times, you have the expected return that's greater than 1 in 100, right? So what I do for a living is essentially professional gambling.
So do you feel like the adrenaline that you feel when you invest in a company and you find out that it just blows up and you are getting such a good return on
it's like
your money?
flopping the nuts, yeah.
Is
And
it
then
like flopping the nuts? Is it comparable at all? Is it comparable?
I would say it's very comparable. Like when you have a great session, you feel amazing, right? You sit there and you're just like, wow, let's go get a drink and talk about how amazing I played all night.
Right.
And then when a company shuts down, you just are like, oh God, you stare at the ceiling. You're like, God, that could have worked, right? And so it's very similar, but you have to, take the variance, right? And that's what poker's about, is like continuing on even though you might hit a 7-game losing streak.
Right.
That's what angel investing is. Like you could have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 investments go bust out, and sometimes you might be ahead, right? Like you think this company's got the greatest shot ever, and then it fails. So you got to accept some variance and roll with the punches.
So to date, what is your most successful investment?
Well, it's pretty well known that I was an early investor in Uber, and that was tremendous. That's like being an angel investor in Uber. That happens like that level of company happens once every 10 times in technology. So in the last 50 or 60 years, it's happened 5 or 6 times. So that's sort of like hitting a royal flush, at a high stakes cash game, and you're on the button, and everybody shoves it in pre-flop, and you just flop it, right? So I got incredibly lucky to know the people over there. But I've had some other ones like Thumbtack and Wealthfront and Raise.com and Chartbeat, ones that are $100 million companies or $1 billion companies or $500 million companies. And those are...
Smell nice, by the way.
Thank you. And those are incredibly significant as well. So, I've gotten incredibly lucky, and it's very similar to poker. If you stay in the game and you keep your tilt control and
pick your spots
well, and stick with it, you'll be fine.
So what do you think, just give us a pro tip from your end of things.
Yeah.
What's like the next best thing to maybe invest in for people who are amateur investors?
Well, if you're an amateur, I think taking a portfolio approach and investing in maybe 20 or 30 companies. So if your chip stack was 100, putting $2,500 into 40 companies would be better than putting $50K into 2.
So don't go all in on
You don't want to go all in on one
thing.
hand. You want to play a bunch of hands, see a bunch of flops. And then I think doing it in a region where the results are disproportionately weighted. So in Silicon Valley, obviously the returns are much better. So if you're going to try to do it in Boise, Idaho, or Chicago, there's just not going to be a Microsoft or a Google coming out of those places. It doesn't happen that often. So the chances of hitting it are very low. You want to only do it if you're in Silicon Valley. Now, there's other types of investment, like investing in small businesses, and that can be fun too, but 5 or 10% of your net worth no more than that. Like enough that you can lose it. And then if you hit and you go 100x on an investment, wow, it could be incredibly material. And if you lose it, well, it's 5%, right? So just like a bankroll in poker, like you're a pro player, so you might have 50% of your net worth in your bankroll or 25%. But generally, most people out there should not do that if they're not professionals, right? Like if I was to put 50% of my net worth or 25% of my net worth into angel investing, which I do, that's high risk. But, you know, I'm at the top of my game in that field. Certainly not in poker, as you saw today.
No, I think you didn't get lucky in a few spots, and, you know, plus.
I
would not say
enjoy
you
being
played
part
badly
of it.
at all. So
I didn't play badly, but let's face it, there was a lot of pros at the table, and so that's never a good recipe
not
for
your usual
an
home
amateur.
game.
It's not the home game, for sure. But I loved it. It's a lot of fun. I'll play TV poker anytime.
Yay!
It's
We
great
love
for
having you.
TV poker is great for the brand.
Yes.
Because everybody, like all the entrepreneurs out there, love poker.
It's
So they
a great
love
way
coming. Like if they talk to me about hands I played. Like when I crushed Daniel Negreanu's soul for $130,000 times.
Call out.
Woo. That like people still today are like, my God, that hand you had with Daniel and poor Daniel, like to lose $130,000 to an amateur on TV, so brutal.
You owned
Love
his
you,
soul.
Daniel.
You owned his soul.
No, I mean that's like that's a peak experience as a poker player to somebody who is like one of the 5 or 10 best poker players in the world, and you get lucky, you know, versus them. So I know I got lucky versus them.
And now you have that story for the rest of your life.
And everybody repeats that story to me.
All right. Well, thank you for hanging out with us on our Periscope. Bye.
Bye. Fun.
Love the Periscope.